We didn't close those things.
Oh well.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
We're back at it.
Tina's already saying good morning.
Good morning, Tina. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of
D&D Live.
D&D Live. We just did our first episode of
Day in the Life.
Day in the Life. We're still working on a... Wow, look at all you guys here this morning, ready to go. We got Louise saying hi.
Hey, Louise.
We got Tanya saying hi. We got my mom saying hi. We got everybody in here rocking, ready to go this morning. We just filmed our first launch of the D&D Adventures.
That's right. So we're trying to, what do you say, improve our YouTube channel?
We're working on building
it because right now, well, we have videos, but you know, we need to grow it and build it. So one of the ways we're doing that is through Day in the Life of D&D, and we just filmed our first episode, so we're super excited to launch that show coming up here.
Yeah, and I was like asking Dorothy, I was like, welcome to...
And then he blanked.
Our first episode, and I looked at Dorothy, and she blanked.
I was like, oh no, I forgot the name of our show! So we're going to call this one Day in the Life of D&D, and we take you through what it's like for us in a day, because a lot of times we get questions like, what do you guys eat in a day? Or how do you work out? Or what do your workouts look like? Or what do you guys do all day? So that is going to give you guys a sneak peek into our lives.
Yeah, so we're super excited about that, and I just thought it was funny because it just happened again. But we're going to be launching that soon, so stay tuned for it next week.
And that'll be on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, on our YouTube channel exclusively, so hopefully you get a chance to head over there and subscribe and check out our videos there.
Mm-hmm. We had a couple more people jump on in, so just tell us you're in here so we can say hi.
I'm going to squish over here.
Oh, you're not over here enough?
So today we are talking about plant-based proteins. Last week was kind of crazy. We started talking about proteins, and then we started off with meat proteins, and then it got so many questions came in, and then all this information was coming out. We didn't get a chance to talk about plant-based proteins. So that's what we're talking about today. Hi, Dorothy.
Hello. So should we give a little recap of the meat proteins in case people missed it?
We should. We got Ginny over here on Instagram.
Hey, Ginny. Hey, I'm not even in on Instagram.
Oh, what did you call it?
I'm not on Instagram.
You're going to have to squeeze in a bit.
He cut me off, guys.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. That's our view, guys, on Instagram.
Facebook, we're on Instagram it's just Instagram, look at Drew Tadia or Trueform Life. And then Instagrammers, we're on Facebook.com/TrueFormLife. We do have a giveaway if you guys are sticking around. Proco from Our Flames Restaurants donating 2 $25 gift certificates.
That's amazing. And you know what? They're doing such amazing things at the restaurant now at Our Flames. And they are actually renovating their lounge area right now. So we're hoping that once that's all good to go. I think Proco said September-ish or end of August-ish that'll be all done. But we're hoping that once the renos are done, we can actually get in there and possibly do a show.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
To show you guys around. But they recently renovated their restaurant, which looks amazing. I think that was a couple years ago or something. But it's amazing. And Proco is an amazing, amazing chef. They have so many great things on their menu. Awesome salads and stir fries. So you can definitely look up here. There's always pointing because there's so many cameras and I'm never knowing which one to look at.
We've got a new camera.
So anyway, like I was saying, there's so many healthy options on the menu, and it's amazing food. Proco's an awesome chef.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great place, and I've been bugging Proco to go in there and do a live video, and he's like, just wait till the renos are done. So we're excited for September to come around so we can start another live video there, because we like to go in the community and find different places to do live videos to show you what the community has and what options there is, because we're big fans of supporting local.
That's right. Can we go back to the other screen now? I don't like this angle.
I got a new camera set up. I'm super excited. So we got a camera over there, and we got a camera right there, and we got a camera right there. So now we have 4 cameras.
See why I don't know where to look?
Dorothy gets like all upset. She's like, not another one. I'm like, don't worry, it'll be fine.
It's hard enough to look at one camera, and now I got 4 at my face.
I have a small problem with technology. Get a little excited around technology. Okay, so plant-based well, let's recap about the meat proteins first.
Sure, we'll do a quick recap of last show in case you missed it. So last week we talked about meat proteins where we started. And we started talking about the most easily digested proteins, so the ones that are going to have the most nutrients. And we kind of went down the list until the hardest digestible proteins and the ones you would want to keep very limited in your diet. So when we're looking at the proteins that are easily digested, they're the white proteins. So white fish, egg whites, for example, are going to be the most utilizable. That's a big word for me. The most utilizable for our bodies. And then when we keep, am I explaining?
You're doing it, rocking it.
He's all silent over there.
I'm
makes me
listening.
nervous. So you want to do fish, egg whites first for the most utilizable. And then we kind of go down the line with turkey, chicken. For example, with chicken, you want to try your best to stay to white meats as opposed to the dark meats. Because then, of course, the dark meat of the chicken and turkey would be even harder to digest than the white meats, for example. And then we touched briefly on red meats. That's one, it's the darkest one, right? So you want to go lightest, easiest to digest, to darkest, hardest to digest. So the red meats are something you'll want to keep very limited in your diet, if possible, because they're the hardest to digest. And I'll let you jump in there if you want to.
No, I was just going to mention.
I could feel it.
No, I just wanted to mention that it does. We're not saying when we say. Of course, we grew up in. I grew up in Alberta, like Alberta beef. I have family members that raise animals like that, cattle. And I would never say, like we would never say, stay away from. Like we drink almond milk, for example. But we're not here to say stay away from the dairy industry. Like all we're saying is that you should consider trying different types of meat. So some people only eat red meat, for example. So maybe you want to try a different type of meat. And then like, when it comes to size as well, like we don't have to have a big giant steak. You know, for most of the time we have like, what is it, a 4 to 6 ounce piece of fish?
Yeah.
So when you have a piece of fish, it's a small piece. But then when it comes to steak, especially in Alberta, we have this big giant steak that's the whole size of a plate. So when we say harder to digest, or we're saying start from the top of the lightest meats, we don't mean you can't have any of the darker meats. All we're saying is that those should be paid attention to. That you should ration those. You should have 4 ounces of that, just like you have 4 ounces of a piece of fish, for example, instead of having a big giant serving, which is going to make your stomach more challenging to digest those types of meats. So I guess that's all I want to say around that.
All right.
Are you done with the order?
I'm done with the order.
Okay.
We kind of touched briefly last week how the meats is the opposite of carbs, because with carbs we want to stay away from the white stuff and we want to consume the dark stuff, but meat is the opposite. You want as much white as possible and the least amount of dark red as possible.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest way to understand it, because most of us see in color.
Right.
Unless some of us are colorblind. And if you have issues seeing color, I don't know, you don't have issues seeing, like most of us see in color. So when it's just the easiest thing, when you see a sweet potato, it's darker. So you're like, oh, I know that's going to be better than a lighter carb, like a white potato. So it's usually the fiber, and it's usually the dark colors that are going to cause or be complex carbs, which are slow digesting. And white carbs, like a white rice, for example, it processes very quickly, sometimes as quickly as a sugar, which means our body can't burn that off properly, and it's stored as body fat. So when it comes to meats, it's the exact opposite. So think about lighter proteins instead of darker proteins as you look at carbs. Did I complicate that?
No, I think though, how I said in the beginning was the simplest.
That's a biased opinion right there.
But when it comes to proteins, always pick light, or try your best to pick as much light proteins and be limited on your dark ones. With carbs, opposite. Try to stay away from white carbs and eat a lot of colorful carbs.
We should make a chart like that.
Yeah.
Chart.
He's very visual person.
I'm very visual. I need like pictures and graphs and like numbers and words. It doesn't really work with me so much. What does that comment say? We got Instagram over there. I can't. It's way over there. It's like on the other side of the room.
Paparazzi is ready. All you need is a red carpet.
All right. We are ready to go. We just need a red. Who's got the red carpet? All right, guys. So we want to get into plant-based proteins.
That's right.
Right. That's the kind of the main topic that we want to get at right now. So if you're watching now, stick around till the end of the show. If you're here at the end of the show, we're going to enter your name into a draw. Proco is giving away 2 $25 gift certificates.
Thank you, Proco.
From Our Flames restaurant.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so fortunate to have restaurants like that locally in Old. So awesome job, Proco, and everyone at Flames Restaurant. And we want to thank you guys for tuning in because we've been doing these consistently for a while now, and our audience is growing as well. So we really appreciate you being a part of our community and our audience, whether you're on Instagram or Facebook, or maybe you're watching this on a replay somewhere else on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. So all the time, I would say, well, a lot of the time we get the question, oh, well, how do you get your protein on a plant-based diet? You eat plant-based diet? Well, where's your protein come from? How do you get your protein? Because we so much associate the protein category as meat. And it doesn't have to be. That's what we are here to explain this morning, is how you can get enough protein from a plant-based diet.
That's right. So we had Kim pop in here. Good morning, Kim.
Hey, Kim.
Then we had Charlene come in as well.
Charlene's in here too. Good morning, Charlene.
Charlene actually won a book from our 7-day smoothie challenge. Yeah. And Kim's all the way out there in Ontario, right?
Right. Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in way out there, Kim. And thanks for being a part of our community, Charlene. We are super excited. We got Jessica in here as well.
Hey, Jessica.
Hi, Jessica. Good morning. If you guys are in here, let us know. If you have any questions about proteins, especially plant-based proteins, let us know. And we'll answer them here live.
Yeah, and stick around to the end in case you're just tuning in. We just announced that Proco from Our Flames Restaurant in Olds is giving away 2 $25 gift certificates. So stick around to the end and we'll do a draw for those.
Yeah. So when it comes to plant-based proteins, it's very challenging. And I always like to bring it back years. I know this puts Dorothy to sleep sometimes. But when we were raised, like most of us in North America were raised around meat. So when it's dinner time, it's what's for dinner, we're having a steak. Or what's for dinner, we're having a roast.
Meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes. And that's just how we were raised. So we always want to be clear with you guys that it's normal and natural to be like, when we are chopping up vegetables and most of our pictures are like vegetables, people are like, what? Where's the meat? Like, why is there so many vegetables, and where do you get your protein from? And so that's a normal mindset to change that and to look at it at a different angle coming from plants, especially when it comes from protein, because most of us correlate protein and meats together. It's like banana and potassium. Like, we don't see all the other benefits that there are and other options besides a banana or besides a meat, for example. So I think that's the very basics to help you understand that you're not alone and there's nothing wrong with you when you're like, oh, I don't understand how you can have enough protein in your diet by not having meat.
That's right.
So when it comes to different plants, for example, there's proteins in just about everything. Mm-hmm. So there's protein in broccoli, for example. There's proteins in cucumbers. You can actually, do you want to tell them? I know you like to tell them this one.
Well, one of the reasons why in our green smoothie recipe that we put celery and cucumber together is because when you put those two veggies together, they make a complete protein. So the nutrients in the cucumber and the nutrients in the celery combine together and they make a complete protein,
That's
which
right.
is super cool.
So complete proteins are amino acids, which are building blocks of protein. So you need amino acids to build your muscle, for example. So when you put these plants together, when you combine them, you can create complete proteins. And there's also superfoods that we call them superfoods. I mean, I think that's a loose name.
Yeah,
loose
term.
term for superfoods. But these superfoods in plants also have complete proteins, which is very rare, which is why you usually have to combine. So if you look at beans and rice, for example, that will also create a complete protein. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to replicate the same types of protein in meat as you would in plants, which will help you get the protein content that you need.
And you know what I think is interesting too about plant-based proteins is that a lot of times it's not just protein that your body is benefiting from. So for example, if you have a chicken breast, well, there's only protein in that chicken breast, right? Meat protein. But if you have quinoa, for example, as a plant-based protein, you're not just getting the benefits of the healthy carb with the quinoa, but you're actually getting the proteins as well.
That's right. And
So I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
You're getting more bang for your buck.
Right. And usually proteins are isolates. So when we look at isolates, let's say when you take a conventional protein supplement, for example, like something you buy at GNC, Costco, where else would you buy protein?
Supermarket sometimes?
Popeyes, I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
There's a number.
Yeah. There's a number of places that sell those isolate proteins just for the cheapest price tag.
Right. So a number of ones that sell, like most places sell isolates. So that means they've isolated the protein. They've taken everything out. Or usually when you look at egg whites or you look at chicken breast, most of it, probably 95% of it, is just protein. There's not much else in there. But if you look at a quinoa, for example, quinoa is a complete truth.
Complete truth protein.
Quinoa is a complete protein, but it's also a slow digesting carb. So you get like, what do you say that? You get 2 for 1?
2 for 1 deal.
With quinoa, you get 2 for 1. So you get a complete protein, which is super easy to digest, utilize, and absorb. And then you have a complex carb, which is going to give you sustainable energy as well, because proteins tend to burn off very quickly. Proteins will burn off like within an hour, probably less than that. And you'll have a slow digesting carbohydrate or a complex carb burning for 2 to 3 hours, which is where your energy would come from.
Right. And another example, a good example would be hemp seeds, because hemp seeds you're getting a complete protein as well, but you're also, it's also a healthy fat. So again, a 2 for 1 dealio.
Dealio. Wow. And it's not just so hemp seeds, it's not just the healthy fats, and it's not just the complete protein. It also has tons of other minerals in there as well, and vitamins that our bodies need to perform properly. So there's also fiber in there, for example, which is hard to find. So you're not going to find fiber in a meat protein. So you don't get the entire benefits. And we're not here to tell you to not eat meat. All we're doing here is telling you that you can eat a plant-based diet without meat and still get enough protein. Mm-hmm. There's something else I want to mention. Oh, here, let me drag this over. Charlene said, Charlene, we need a picture for you. Do you have a picture in your profile? I can't wait to get my book. Thank you guys so much. You're welcome, Charlene.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for your participation with our 7-day smoothie challenge. You want to switch cameras? Is that where you're looking over there? Pow!
No, I
How
don't.
you doing?
Look at me. No. I don't want to switch cameras.
That's what your face looks like.
I just am not a fan of the angle of that camera, that's all.
You know it can be moved. The camera can be moved. Let's leave it there for a second.
I don't touch any of the camera equipment because I might not put it in the right spot.
Dallas is on Instagram. What's up, Dallas?
Hey, Dallas!
Okay, so the next step when it comes to understanding proteins is that we have the combination of it, and then we have them like combining, for example. So I compare. I thought we weren't touching. I thought we weren't touching the technology. Keep your hands to yourself. So if you guys have any, I know that was a lot of information and it's a short amount of time, especially, and then we have to go back to like when we think of plants, like usually we don't put plants on our plate. Like when I was counting macros, for example, and I was counting calories and paying attention to everything I was putting in my body, I didn't put a whole lot of vegetables in there because there's not a lot of calories in there. It's very hard to see a tangible number around vegetables. So when people are like, well, how much protein is in there? It's very hard to compare plant-based protein and meat protein, so they don't really add up. The way I see it when you look at plant proteins is if we work out all the time. So if you take a workout and you go to the gym, let's say you go to a conventional gym and you're like, I'm going to do bicep curls because that's what I want to work out today. So they're going to stand there and do bicep curls in different ways. I did this myself for years ago. And the benefit of doing bicep curls is to benefit your biceps. That's pretty much it. So you go to the gym and you focus on your biceps. So when we compare this to eating a meat protein. So when you sit down and you're like, oh, I need some protein, and you sit there and you eat a meat, let's just say it's a chicken breast, for example, you're getting the protein, and that's it. If you go to the gym and you use a full body workout, if you do squats and push-ups and lunges, and you combine everything in a circuit, and you get in and out of there in 20, 25 minutes, which is what we recommend, then you have the benefits of your entire body being worked out. You can increase your metabolism, you can put your body in fat burning stage, you can do a lot of different things in that 20 to 25 minutes and work out your entire body. So when we look at combining foods, when we look at an amazing stir fry, for example, a veggie stir fry, so you chop up a bunch of vegetables, you throw that in together with some quinoa, maybe you sprinkle some hemp seeds on there, you have your complete proteins, you have your slow digesting carbs, you have everything that your body needs in one meal, you have all the macronutrients, so you get more bang for your buck instead of doing one bicep curl, you're doing your whole body. Instead of having one piece of meat, you're having a combination of everything you need in an entire meal.
I think that's a great way to explain it, Drew. And, when you're focusing on getting all the macros in, plant-based proteins are nice because you can get 2 of your macros with just one ingredient, for example.
That's
or
right.
one food, like hemp seeds, right? You'd get your healthy fats and your proteins.
That's right. 2 for 1.
2 for 1 deal!
All right, if you guys have any questions, let us know. If you're enjoying the show, feel free to like this comment or put a little heart there because that makes us feel good. We got Charlene had a question here, I think. Do you want to read this, Dorothy?
Charlene says, I have not been able to digest meat proteins. It shuts down my digestive system. I have ate plant-based for 2 years now, figuring it out with no help, so it's good to hear this. Awesome, Charlene. Glad that we can be here to help out.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, Charlene? There's more and more people that kind of struggle with with different types of meat. So it may not be meats altogether, but it could be one type of meat. Like it might be, some people might struggle with eggs. Like eggs are very high on the top of the allergy list, for example. Like eggs and nuts, I think, are probably top 3, and then dairy top 3.
Yeah.
So you're not alone, and there's usually different things for each person. But we didn't really have the knowledge before. We didn't have the technology before to understand. So
or to share.
To share.
Yeah.
And the thing is, for me, like milk is one for me because kids will tell you, they'll be like, "Ma," like parents, like I don't want to have milk, for example, because the child knows that it's disrupting their digestive system. They know that it's bothering them in some way. They just don't know how to explain that. So they say to their parents, I don't want the milk. And the parents say, yeah, you need the milk. You need the calcium or you need the protein. And, of course, then it becomes a struggle. And then some people, they often tell us, like, I had to deal with that. And as they got older, they stopped drinking milk. Their digestive issues went away. So there's a lot of different people that are dealing with this in certain ways. So it's very cool, Charlene. Thank you for sharing with us. Like, when we talk about us moving towards food, like the food that we eat, because of how it makes us feel.
That's right, and that is one of the main reasons Drew and I eat is to nutritionize our body and to make us feel good. So if something that we're eating isn't going to make us feel energized or isn't going to refuel our body and make us feel good, then we're going to stay away from it. So, for example, Drew was talking earlier about the dairy, And that's one thing for myself and that really slows me down, hurts my digestion system, and doesn't give me a whole lot of energy. So that's one of the reasons that we choose to stay away from dairy. So I think it all starts with paying attention to how the foods make you feel. And if a particular food doesn't make you feel so great, then why would we keep having it? Right? And
Yeah.
I think for some reason it comes back to that instant gratification or satisfaction because the food tastes good, right? For example, I love cheese, but cheese doesn't love me. But it tastes so good, right? Like an instant taste bud explosion, right? And so you remember that. You remember how good it tastes, but you forget about how it made you feel afterwards. Or, for me, lots of times dairy causes big breakouts, causes digestion discomfort. But I don't remember that. I just always remember how good it tastes. So I think shifting our focus or shifting our mindset to how it makes us feel afterwards instead of how good it tastes on the lips could help us as well.
Yeah, for sure. And for when Louise says that's how I feel about milk too. And then let me pull another one. Louise is talking to us here. You want to read that one?
Louise says, I think it's that way with many foods. Often when you don't like something, it's that doesn't sit well. And yeah, when you don't like something, it's because it doesn't sit well in your tummy or your gut.
Right. That's a good point, Louise, because I think sometimes we've realized we don't like something, but we're not sure why. We might just think it's taste, but it could be digestion. And there's so many of us that deal with digestion issues on a regular basis, from inconsistent bowel movements to gas, bloating, and indigestion. And that's why we'll talk about Complete Truth Protein here shortly, but that's why Complete Truth Protein is so beneficial, because of the ability for it to digest easily in our body, and because of the fiber content actually improves our digestion. So we need to find foods that improve our digestion instead of disrupt our digestive system.
And I think one of the big things is to understand that it doesn't have to be that way. For the longest time, I struggled with digestive issues, and I just accepted, that's the way it is. I have a bad tummy. But I think if we understand, it doesn't have to be that way, and we can do something about it to change it, then it can turn itself around.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see that all the time. That's why we do what we do. We want to help people understand that you can live a healthy lifestyle, and you can live energized, and you can feel fantastic. You can even sleep well.
Yeah.
And when we mention that, people are kind of think we're a bit crazy, but you don't have to live a certain way. You don't always have to be in discomfort. There are things that you can do to improve your digestive health. And I mean, this particular conversation here around plants, plants they digest much more easily than meats do. And that's just facts. That's not a personal opinion. That's how our bodies work. Our bodies just, I suppose, adjust and adapt to plants much easier than meats. So, and again, we're not here to tell you not to eat meat anymore. We're just saying start to pay attention to your body. And if you have a piece of meat and you have a certain reaction to it, or you don't feel great, then maybe you should try to cut that out of your diet for a couple weeks and see how you feel. You might feel great without it.
Yeah.
Let me see what Jessica had a couple of milk. Jessica's not really a milk fan, it looks like.
Milk, barf. That's the little emoji there for barf. It's funny because I was this, earlier Drew was saying how when you're a young kid, you know already, right, what foods make you feel good and which foods don't make you feel good, or make you feel blah. And it's funny that Jessica brought that up, because I knew from a really young age that I wasn't a milk fan. But it's funny because, all of the marketing and all of that goes into milk makes us believe that we need it, right? Or it's beneficial to have it. So it was our meal times, right? And I would just leave my milk sitting there because I was never really a milk fan. And then when I got older, it was in buying my own groceries and out on my own, it was one thing that I cut right away, was milk.
Yep. You really didn't eat anything though.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point.
I was a picky eater.
But Jessica said humans are the only mammals who continue to drink milk past youth. And I think also that's a good point, Jessica. I think that we're the only ones that drink another mammal's milk as well. Could you imagine, like, in nature, like, another animal going to another animal and drinking their milk? It would be laughable, but it's a good point. So Jessica says milk is yuck. With her little emoji there. So, but again, we're not here to tell you not to drink milk. We're just here to tell you to maybe consider something different. Like for us, we drink different kinds of milk, like almond milk or coconut milk is what we drink. And we have to, cats do. Tanya.
Oh, yeah.
Cats. What kind of milk do cats drink? Cats drink cow's milk?
Yeah.
Is anything else? Anything else, Tanya? Help us out if you guys have any other suggestions that we missed.
But I think what you were getting at, Drew, was just pay attention to how you feel. It doesn't just have to be milk, but it can be other things too. If it doesn't make you feel good, then move on.
That's right. I'll tell you about Dairy Queen. Like Dairy Queen was one of the last kind of unhealthy treats that we cut out, and I really loved Blizzards. It was like a childhood thing. I really enjoyed having Blizzards. And my mom or grandma used to go and get Blizzards, score Blizzards all the time. And so every once in a while I'd be like, I'm craving a Blizzard. I need to go get one. So I would go get one. And and I'd eat one. And then I would feel horrible after. I'd be like in the fetal position being like, what did I do to myself?
Come hang out.
And this was after we had a pretty clean diet. So that was one of our few treats.
Yeah, and you know what's funny too is we started out like downsizing. Like it used to be a small, and then it went to like a baby, and then it went to us sharing a baby. But even the more that we downsized, it still like would make us feel
Didn't help a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say we slowly transitioned away from Dairy Queen Blizzards because it didn't make us feel good. But that's with everything that we eat. And people say, like, are you guys, we mentioned this in the last show, people say, are you guys vegans or vegetarians? And we're like, we're really not. Like, we're not anything. Like, if we feel like we want to have meat on a certain day, then we probably have meat twice a month, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
And I'd say we're pretty healthy, and I wouldn't say, like, we're lacking or our bones are, like, super brittle because we don't have the meat, or we don't have the protein from meats, for example. And so you don't have to like have a label. If we have something that doesn't sit well, for example, then we just move away. We just move away from it, and we're like, well, let's try to not have that in our diets anymore. And if we feel better, then we keep it out. And it's not with everything. Like for example, we tried to go raw for a little bit. So we went for, was it like a week or a month?
It was close to a month.
So we went 100% raw, and it just wasn't it didn't feel right in our lifestyle. Like we missed warm cooked foods in the evenings, and we just didn't love that lifestyle. And we feel like every transition that you make should fit into your lifestyle. So when we were like, oh, that's not going to fit for us, then we went back to cooked foods. And that just worked for us. So people that eat 100% raw, that works better for them. And there's definitely benefits with all the living enzymes and the living food with raw, but that didn't fit well for us. So we eat probably 75% raw,
right,
and then 25% cooked. So that's how we fit that into our lifestyle.
Usually we have one cooked meal a day, and that would be our supper meal, right?
Yeah.
Like usually everything else is raw throughout the day, like our snacks and our breakfast, lunch, like those are usually all raw, or almost raw.
Almost raw.
Almost raw.
Louise said cats only drink milk because humans drink milk. She said my daughter has a cat and their vet told them not to feed it milk, only water. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What did she say? Oops, because humans give it to cats.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not really, neither of us are really cat people. So we don't have cat. I was never raised with a cat. Don't really have cats around. Can't really comment. But it's interesting conversation. If you guys have any other comments like that, bring them. And we'll talk about it. What is it? Wish I could hang around. Oh, Tanya's over there. Thanks for tuning in, Tanya. And Tanya,
thanks for going to the market and supporting our Feed a Family campaign. Buy a Bag, Feed a Family campaign. Tanya picked up some protein at the market yesterday. So thanks, Tanya, for your support.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tanya. Have a great day. Thank you for tuning in with us. And, that'd be a good time to mention our campaign because Tanya, we have a couple other people that were involved as well in helping us get towards our goal.
Yeah, so we've seen an incredible amount of support already. We've sold 30 bags. We did a tally up or a total up. How do you call that?
We tallied our total?
We tallied a total. We tallied it up last night after the market, and we had a couple other online orders yesterday come in, and we have 30 bags sold so far, which is awesome. So in case you're not sure what we are talking about, we've had a campaign going on since the beginning of July called Buy a Bag, Feed a Family. And our goal, we set out a goal to sell 50 bags in the month of July. And then we would give back, when we reach our 50 bags, we'll give back to a local family and provide them with a meal and food. And the reason that we decided to do this is because we've been so grateful with all of the support that we've received from you guys in our community and beyond that we feel it's important to always give back, and we like to support within our local community and stay within local. So that's what we're up to, and we need 20 more bags by the end of July. So we have like 5 days left. So we need to sell 20 more bags of Complete Truth protein in order to reach our goal. So if you would like to support that campaign or support what we're doing, then all you have to do is purchase a bag. You can just let us know right here in the comments that you'd like some CTP, and we can get that to you. We can deliver it. We can ship it. You can pick it up in Olds if you're in the Olds area as well. We have 2 locations, Uptown Market in Olds and the CLC in Olds. So every bag does count. We were sitting at 20 bags for the longest time, and then yesterday it just went pow! And we reached 30 bags. And 50 bags isn't like, how would you call it? Obscene, right?
It's just, summertime's a bit slower. We usually sell more than that, so we thought that would be a good benchmark to try to reach to feed a local family. So summertimes are a bit slower, so that's all there is to it. But you guys have been amazing with your support so far, and we thought we would one more push here before the end of the month, and hopefully we can reach our goal. And then we're going to buy a ton of groceries and then hope maybe cook or deliver. I think it'd be an amazing surprise to open your door and have a giant box of food for a family in need locally in Olds. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
do we want to talk about Complete Truth protein for a bit?
Yeah, we should.
Because some of you might be wondering, what is Complete Truth protein or how do I use it? So maybe we should talk about it and... right here.
Explain, yeah.
Right now.
Before we get into that, some of you guys are coming in and out. Some of you have been here from the beginning and are sticking around. Regardless, we have 2 $25 gift certificates for Our Flames restaurant.
$25.
What did I say?
Just $2.25.
Oh. $2.25.
$2.25 gift cards.
So Proco donated those from the Flames, Our Flames restaurant in Olds. A great place. We're very fortunate to have a place like that in Olds. Family run for years.
Yes.
And amazing food. They're remodeling right now, and they're going to be, I don't know, it's still open, but reopening in September with all the, help me out.
All the renos.
Thank you. All the
So
renovations.
their lounge right now is under construction. They're renovating the lounge. You can still get all of the deals from the lounge in the restaurant right now. But the lounge is, I guess, closed for construction right now, and they'll be reopening with all the brand new, wonderful renovations. Drew and I actually got a little sneak peek during the reno time, and it's going to be fabulous when it's all done. So I think the goal is end of August ish, and then for the renos to be complete, and then hopefully Drew and I can get in there to give you a little tour of the place with one of our morning shows. But Proco is an amazing chef, and their food is so good, so wonderful. Everything is made like in-house. No, like their sauces and everything is made right there by Proco and I guess his team. So it's amazing. Amazing food, amazing atmosphere, and like Drew said, family run. So
Yeah, so definitely check them out. So stick around at the end. If you're here at the end, we'll enter your name into a draw for the gift certificates.
yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Complete Truth Protein.
Okay. Where do you want to start?
Well, I suppose the whole design behind it came from, we feel that people didn't get enough nutrients into their bodies. And that's kind of still how we feel. Most of the time we have a breakfast or a late breakfast around 10, 11, if we have breakfast at all. And then we have a lunch in the afternoon, and it's usually like a big, heavy lunch, which is why we deal with that afternoon crash. And then we have a dinner, a meal, like a supper in the evening. And that's a big meal. And then we're not up and active. We eat this meal and we lay on the couch for the rest of the evening, which doesn't help our digestion. And it's the reason why it's much more easy for our bodies to gain body fat. Mm. So basically 2 meals a day is what we're getting at. And we were trying to figure out the best way to, we got some comments coming in here, the best way to nutritionize our bodies or add nutrients in an easy and simple way. So when we designed Complete Truth Protein, it was around the macronutrients that you would have in a meal. So what are the macronutrients that we need?
So we need a protein and healthy fat, a complex carb. So those are our dark carbs, like we talked about earlier in the show. And one of the forgotten about macros, because usually people just consider those 3 the macros, but there is a 4th macro, and it's fiber. And a lot of times we call it the forgotten about macro, but that is our veggies.
So that's hidden. It's also antioxidants. So those people that, it's very hard. So antioxidants heal our body. So we have something called free radicals that damage our body. So it's pollution outside. It's alcohol, tobacco, sugar, processed food. That's happening to us on a regular basis. So it's very difficult for our bodies to heal ourselves or fight free radicals if you don't have antioxidants going into your body on a regular basis. So people that don't eat veggies at all or don't eat enough veggies really don't have any defense mechanism to fight these free radicals, which are damaging our bodies on a regular basis. So that's why they're so important. So when we're looking at proteins or designing Complete Truth Protein, it was around those 4 macronutrients. We need a slow digesting carb to give our bodies energy throughout the day. Healthy fats also give us lots of energy. Then we have proteins that help our building blocks. They help us heal our bodies. They help us build lean muscle mass, which actually burns body fat. I'm not talking about the big bulky muscle. I'm talking about lean muscle. And then you have your antioxidants, and fiber helps us digest our foods, especially. So the thing is, like, there's tons of fiber in vegetables, for example, especially the green leafy ones. And then, so we have this big piece of meat, for example, at dinner time, and then we don't have any vegetables on the side to help that digest. So we put a hard to digest food in our body to begin with, then we give it absolutely no help to digest, utilize, and absorb, and then we wonder why we have digestive issues.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Suzanne just jumped in here.
She said, good morning.
Good morning. Sorry I'm late.
No problem, Suzanne. Happy you could join us this morning. We're talking about plant-based proteins, and we went over a recap from last week, and we talked about our giveaways at Our Flames restaurant as well, so that's what you missed.
We're just getting into talking about Complete Truth Protein right now. What did Jessica say?
She said their house dressing is amazing.
Oh, at Our Flames, yes.
What was your favorite meal at Our Flames, Jessica? Can you let us know? Okay. I feel like that's tons of information. So
the Complete Truth Protein could be a whole show.
It could be a whole show. So I guess when we look at those different proteins that we use, so we looked at quinoa because it's a complete protein and it's a complex carb. It has tons of iron and other benefits as well. So we grabbed quinoa and we're like, we need some complex carbs in our life because we usually don't get quality ones from other areas. They're usually, the ones we usually get are from low quality.
The white ones.
Right. Like low quality breads, pastries. Yeah. Those are the carbs that we usually get. So that's why we felt we needed a complex carb in our protein supplement. We didn't want it to be an isolate like you would see from conventional GNC, for example. Mm-hmm. And then we wanted a good quality plant-based protein supplement as well, or protein as well. So we get that with the combination of hemp seeds, which is a complete protein, and quinoa is also a complete protein. And so you get all the macronutrients you need in one meal, highly digestible, utilizable, and easy to absorb and burn off and turn into energy.
So I like to, because it contains all of the macros, it has the nutrients we need from a complete meal. So if we were to make a complete meal with all the macros, supplementing with Complete Truth protein gives you all of those vital nutrients. So that's why I like to call it a meal in a bag.
It is a meal in the bag.
A meal on the go. And it was important for us to help people reach their optimal nutrition level easily. So that's all, like making a smoothie, for example, with Complete Truth protein would give you all the nutrients you need from a meal.
That's right. And you know what, sometimes people are like, well, how much does it cost? We used to go to trade shows, and people will go, how much does it cost? And I said, well, how much will you pay for a meal out? And then they would say, well, $8 to $12 usually it costs for, like, roughly for a meal out. Well, when you have a scoop of protein, Complete Truth protein, it's less than $2.50 per serving. So that's an entire meal of everything, that's all these quality nutrients that you're getting in your body. So it's much different than, again, a conventional supplement, which is just the protein. And when you go out and you buy food from a restaurant, it's going to cost much more than a quick smoothie, for example, from CTP.
That's right. And that was another, I guess, important thing to us when we were designing CTP, is to make it easily utilizable. So having it already ground up into a powder for you, you just scoop it into a smoothie. Smoothies are so easy to make, right? In fast, you can have a meal in about 5 minutes, right? You put your almond milk or your water, your fruits, and your CTP, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, you throw them in a blender and I'll mix them up all together.
Yeah.
And then that's it. You can take that with you, so you can have that for breakfast. It's a great way to transition your body into a breakfast if you're not used to having breakfast, because it's easy to digest. Usually we have like a big breakfast. Like, we're not used to having breakfast. And then we're like, okay, I'm going to try breakfast. And it's like bacon and eggs and hash browns and toast. And we go to like a restaurant that may not be the best options. And we're like, oh my gosh, that was horrible. I can't eat breakfast. So then you spend another 10 years of your life not eating breakfast and being like, I'm not a breakfast person.
Right.
So there's things that you can do, like you should have kombucha, for example. That's something we recommend on a regular basis every morning. That's what we have. If you're not a kombucha type of person, you can transition your body and your gut and intestines to a lemon water. So just pour yourself some water, squeeze some lemon in it. That'll help alkalize your body.
Waken everything up.
And give your body a chance to get ready to digest food. So that's something else you can do. But having a simple breakfast in the morning, like Complete Truth protein smoothie, is a super easy way to get your body in that, get your metabolism going, get your body in a fat burning stage, and start to feel great in the morning instead of slow and sluggish and tired. That's
right. And another thing to pay attention to, or to be aware of, is how fast we eat. Right. A lot of times, we're in a hurry in the morning to get out the door, get to work, or kids off to school, whatever it is, and we pretty much shovel our breakfast into our mouth and eat it in about 2 seconds. So that can be the culprit for digestive issues as well. And it's no different with a smoothie. If you're having a smoothie for breakfast, then you'll want to be sipping that, over a period of 15-20 minutes. Just because it's a meal in liquid form doesn't mean that we should chug it in about 30 seconds. You'll want to make sure you're drinking your smoothie slowly so that your body has a chance to use the nutrients that you're putting into it, absorb it, and utilize it. And if we just chug it back, then of course it's going to cause some discomfort.
Yeah, and we see that all the time. And then people are like, oh, something's wrong with your protein powder. It gives me a stomachache after I drink it. And then we're like, how often do you drink how quickly do you drink your smoothie? Like, oh, well, in a few minutes, 5 minutes maybe. And we're like, well, maybe you should slow down and see what happens. The thing is, with Complete Truth protein, it's different than your conventional supplement. It's food in its whole form. We don't do anything. We don't strip any nutrients. We don't heat it. It's a raw product. It's a vegan product. It's very much a food. So if you think about all these nutrients, all these macronutrients you would have in a whole plate of food, swallow that in 5 minutes and see how your body reacts.
Yeah.
It's not going to like it at all. So if you grab a smoothie, and we saw that this was the first time this was why I reference it continually because this is the first time I saw it. We were teaching a group of athletes about nutrition, and Dorothy was going around pouring the smoothies,
and we were giving, like, normally at our events we give a little, like, 1 ounce kind of shot to try the smoothie, but for our athletes we were giving them a whole cup, like a whole smoothie.
That's right. So Dorothy was going around pouring them. I turned around to talk I was writing on the board, and Dorothy poured the smoothies, and I'm talking about nutrition. I turn around, and almost every one of their smoothies were gone. And I was like, and I didn't even get a chance to be like, slow, don't chug these. These aren't like your store-bought smoothies. These are high-quality smoothies. Like your body has a ton of nutrients. That's the biggest issue, is that there's so many nutrients that we're swallowing so quickly. And then so we have all these nutrients, and it just sits in our gut, and our gut's like, what is going on? How am I gonna process all this?
How am I dealing with all this at once?
So I turned around, and there was about 10 of them, and all their smoothies were gone, except for 2 of them that Dorothy hadn't poured yet. And I was like, what happened to your smoothies? And then they have, like, they're younger. They were 13 or 15, and they had, like, smoothie mustaches, and they're like, ah! So I was like, that was the first time. It was an eye-opening experience for me. So that's the first thing when we talk to people about enjoying smoothies, is that enjoy them, drink them slowly. There's a lot of nutrients, and it should take you some time to consume it because of all the food that you're gaining in the product.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Should we talk about baking with CTP?
Yeah, if you guys have any questions with CTP or plant-based proteins in general, let us know. We'll wrap things up here soon if you're sticking around for our draw, and we'll get to that in a second. But let us talk about baking with CTP before we wrap things up here.
Yeah, and baking is something we kind of realized or experimented with later on with CTP. When we first designed it, we just had designed it for smoothies. And then we realized, wow, this is actually really good for baking. And we had met some people who had gluten intolerance and realized how much that was needed, right? How many people...
Yeah, I just want to mention Louise, because I think Louise could have been one of the first ones that was baking with it. Let us know if I'm wrong, Louise, but Louise has been with us for years. We're so grateful for people like Louise, but Louise is one of our first regular orders of CTP, and she's celiac. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Louise, but you may have been one of the first that started baking with it, and then we're like, oh my, you can actually bake with this. And then Dorothy made a whole...
Oh man, I was in the kitchen for weeks making recipes with CTP, and it was fun. But at the time, remember, because I was trying to figure out exactly, I was making recipes, so you have to be really precise in your ingredients and things. And some batches weren't turning out, and I'd get all frustrated and eat them anyway.
Usually good.
And they were usually fine. It's just, with gluten-free, you have to find the right balance so that it rises nice and all of those things. But
that's what's great about CTP.
That's right. That's what's great about CTP, is because when I had first started baking gluten-free and trying different flours, it was really frustrating because one thing that seemed to be sacrificed was the taste. A lot of gluten-free flours don't taste very good. And then another thing was the way that it was rising, and a lot of times it wouldn't rise, it would be flat. A lot of times it was rock hard and dry. Like a brick or a pop. Like a muffin would be like dry and brickish. So when we started baking with Complete Truth Protein, it was so refreshing because it rose nicely in you didn't have to add any rising agents. You don't have to add anything like that to it. Except sometimes if you're doing muffins, for example, you'll want a baking soda, baking powder kind of thing. But, and then it was so moist and delicious tasting. So that's what's great about CTP and about baking with it. Another thing is there's no crazy conversions with baking with CTP. It's just a 1-for-1. So if your recipe called for 1 cup of conventional flour, you can just use 1 cup of CTP, which is great because I'm not a mathematician. So sometimes baking with the gluten-free flours, it's like all these crazy conversions to get it to work, but CTP is so easy to use, which was important for us because when you purchase CTP, we want you to be able to use it.
Right. And the other thing is when it comes to proteins, like our main topic here is plant-based proteins, is that you can increase your protein in plants, for example. In your diet by consuming CTP in your baking. So many times you would have a flour that wouldn't have the same nutrient or the same nutrient value as CTP. So if you have your bleached white flour, for example, that any of us grew up on, you're not going to have nutrients in that meat, in that piece of baking.
That's right.
So Dorothy has cookies, she has muffins, we have pancakes. These are all nutrients that are going to nutritionize your body. They're going to heal your body. They're going to give you energy. And that's the first thing that we hear.
And they're kid approved.
Oh.
Because I was teaching at the time that I was making all of these recipes. And I wanted to know, because that was a big thing for a lot of people, was, well, my kids eat it, right? Because I think it's frustrating for moms that are transitioning to more healthier habits and their kids won't eat it, right? And I was always bringing in things to my classroom, to my kids in the classroom, to see their reaction. And I was always like surprised, like, whoa, this is too good to be true, because they loved what I was bringing them. And I think they loved the way it made them feel as well, because a lot of times the things like muffins and cookies and all these conventionally have so much sugar that the kids feel that sugar spike, right? And they have so much energy, and it's hard for them because they don't know how to control it, right? When they have those sugar spikes. But with the baking that I was bringing in with the CTP, they were feeling real energy almost, right? As opposed to sugar energy.
And we get that when we share these recipes and share these meals, and then people are like, well, I can't, they're so good. Like, first of all, the parents say, I can't keep them in the house because the kids eat them or the spouse eats them. And then we also get the one, I can't make them because I want to eat all of them and I feel too guilty. But these are guilt-free recipes with CTP. You can consume them. Dorothy creates them with no sugar, no gluten.
No butter, no gluten, no oils, no dairy.
So we have tons of different recipes for you to use CTP, which will increase your protein if you're worried about. A lot of people are worried about protein, and they're easy to create as well. So you can consume them; they're perfectly fine. I want to mention this story real quick. That we were at the grocery store the other day, and this mom was looking around. She had a couple kids with her, and they were reading ingredients, which was awesome. Like anytime you're reading ingredients, you're doing a good job. But we thought it was interesting how she was only concerned about the protein content. So she would pull a granola bar off the shelf.
She was in the granola bar aisle looking for the box with the highest amount of protein in it for her kids. And they were all involved in the process. She had 2 little boys, and they were all involved. Like, what about this one, Mom? What about that one? This says 6 grams. This says 7 grams. Whatever. I can't remember. But
it was very cool.
Yeah.
Like, it was awesome to see that they were looking and the kids were involved. But the only thing she was concerned about was the protein content. So when we look at those, granola bars, for example, we look at the ingredients. And we always suggest look at the ingredients, not the nutritional value, because the nutritional value is sometimes not always truthful in what it's explaining. So it could say it has 100 calories, but that's 2 chips. And no one ever eats 2 chips. Like 100 calories per serving in this bag, and the per serving is 2 chips. Like, you're not going to have 2 chips. You're going to have 85 of them. But anyways, she was looking at just the protein content. So it was like 1 gram of protein, 3 grams of protein. And she's like, put it back. And I was just thought, Dorothy kind of had a conversation. Like, if you read the ingredients, you'd understand like what you're actually putting in your body. So maybe the first ingredient is refined sugar. Or maybe it has high fructose corn syrup that you want to stay away from. Or it has different colorings. Like if the first 3 ingredients have sugar in it, that means most of the product has sugar in it. So you need to put it back on the shelf. So instead of paying attention to one macronutrient like protein, you want to pay attention to the ingredients and what it's made from. Yeah,
and I found it interesting because, the one that they had chosen to go with had a bunch of chocolate on it. And I looked at her and I said, sometimes it's hard because I was like, maybe they should be looking at the sugar instead of the protein. But you know what? There was still, like Drew said, it was still great to see them in there, not just throwing things in their cart, right? Like actually putting effort into reading labels. But yeah, like Drew said, read the ingredients.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want protein, like I used to get those big giant protein bars from like a GNC, and they're packed with so much junk, and you take a bite of it, and you could literally choke on it because it was so
like
chalky.
Chalky.
And it has so much horrible ingredients in it, but the protein content says like 40 grams of protein. So like if that's all you're looking at, you're going to miss out on a whole lot of toxins that our bodies shouldn't consume. We had Louise said, I'd like to take credit, but I can't. When I first bought CTP, you already had your cookbook. I think that was new at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Thanks for being honest with us. I thought we did. Brenda also was with us. She was helping us design recipes as well early on. But I thought you might have been there as well, Louise. But regardless, we appreciate your long-time support with CTP. We've known you for so long, we've thought that you were there to begin with, and that's pretty cool. Louise also says, I think sometimes people equate protein with being healthy. Healthy. You like that word?
Healthy.
With being
it
healthy.
Be used in a different context, like, thank you for being so healthy today, Drew.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're right, Louise. And that's the same thing when it comes to like vegans or vegetarians. People are like, Louise is mentioning like, if you're eating a bunch of protein, it's healthy, which isn't true. And Louise, you would know that from, if it says gluten-free on the package, doesn't mean it's healthy.
Doesn't mean it's healthy.
And the same thing with like vegans or vegetarians, like just because you're vegan or vegetarian doesn't, like you could be eating processed food for your whole life, just not eating meat. You have to have a well balance, otherwise it's not healthy. We have to say goodbye to Instagram real quick.
Oh, Instagrammers, 20 seconds left. So thanks for joining us, Instagrammers.
Stay here, Facebookers.
Yes, Facebookers, we are not done. Pause due to poor... Oh, I guess we're done.
No, we got cut off.
What? How do I end it? Or just leave it?
No, we have to save it.
This is because there are so many cameras.
4 cameras.
4.
Louise says, yes, Brenda was there. See, Louise even remember Brenda. And then, okay, so we're good. So we're good. If you guys want to help us out with our with CTP, buy a bag, feed a family campaign, you can do so. Let us know in the comments if you're interested in purchasing a bag. We have people like Louise is buying regularly. Charlene was in here, and Tanya bought a bag. We have a lot of support from you guys. Chantel is or was in here. Tina's a big help. You guys are amazing, and that's why we want to give back. If you guys have bought a bag in the month of July, you have contributed to feeding a family.
Yes, so we have 20 bags to go to reach our goal of 50.
That's right.
So we're getting there.
So if you want to help us out, let us know in the comments, and we'll arrange a way to. We make it as easy as possible. Like Dorothy and I run the company. We have some help, of course, and we have people helping us run markets. We have people helping us deliver. But I mean, we're not a big company, so if you want, we're going to answer you if you're like, I want a bag. It's not someone overseas that's going to help you out. We're going to, so we can set up an e-transfer at the markets. We're taking checks. We'll do whatever we can to make it happen.
We want it to be the most convenient way possible for you. So when we connect, we will make it work out for you.
Chantel says, love CTP. Yes, Chantel.
Yeah, Chantel is in our smoothie challenge in our CTP group. So that's another thing. If you want to learn more about CTP and you're not a member, just call it a member?
Sure.
In our CTP group on Facebook, let us know. We can add you to that group, or you can search us and request to join our group. We got all kinds of different recipes going up there, questions going up there. We put posts in there every week, so that you can learn more about CTP and just living a healthy lifestyle in general.
That's right. Okay, so we're going to do our draw here. So if you're still here, watching, what does Suzanne says? She said, I'll be able to get some next week before Wednesday. Awesome. Well, then you can join in our Buy a Bag, Feed a Family campaign.
That's right, Suzanne. Thank you so much.
Suzanne's been amazing. She shares so many of our posts and is liking and commenting. That really helps. Like sometimes, I mean, CT, like we do these live videos for fun. Like these are offering information and sharing information, selling products like our monthly membership or selling products like Complete Truth Protein. That's how we feed ourselves. And that's how we pay rent, and that's how we survive. So if you can, if that's what you do to support us, we really appreciate that. But if you're not able to, you still help us by sharing our comments, or by commenting on posts or liking posts. That also helps us grow as well. So however you're contributing is is very much helpful, and we appreciate that in any way you can. So if you're not in this position to buy CTP, I mean, that's perfectly okay as well. So let us know in the comments that you're still here, and we'll write your name down. Dorothy's doing it right now. I'm going to switch cameras and freak her out. See, look, you can see you writing.
Okay.
It's a better angle.
But where do I look? Right here?
Yeah, it's Dorothy's face. That's what it looks like.
Oh, man. So I've got Charlene, I've got Suzanne, and I've got Louise.
Hilda's still here.
Hilda.
Okay.
I know there's more than that. Let us know you're here.
Yeah, we only have 4. There's a handful more in here, so let us know. I want to ask you guys a question.
Jessica.
I want to ask you guys a question. This is going to sound a little crazy. I'm going to ask this on Facebook later. Charlene's still here. Chantel's still here. So we met this guy that is spreading love in the world, and he
last night on our evening walk.
Are you just taking over the story?
Yep.
You write, and I'll talk.
Oh, he's kind of bossy.
I thought I would talk about it all you're writing.
Kind of bossy.
We got this guy we met this guy that he's going to walk around the world.
Across the world.
Walk across the world. And he said, we walked by him, and he's pulling his cart, like with all his wagon with all his stuff in it. And it says writing on it. And I wish I had the picture to pull up to show you. It's on the phone.
I can get it off the phone, maybe. But we saw this guy the other day at the beach, and Drew was like, who is that guy? So I knew last night when we saw him on our evening walk that Drew stops, like in his tracks.
I'm reading his sign.
And then he's like, there's the guy again. And I'm like, just go talk to him, because I know you want to.
So I unleashed the questions on him. And I'm talking to this guy for like 30 minutes.
Oh, gosh.
And asking him all these questions. And then his name's Bing Lee.
Bing Lee.
And he lived in Canada for a while. He lived in Montreal. He walked from Vancouver.
Can you show that to them somehow? Up here?
You would have to go on that one. I
don't
know if that's going to work out. Is that the one?
That's the one.
I don't know if it'll zoom.
Oh, no. It won't work out. Sorry, guys. But you'll see. We'll
what
post.
about that camera? Huh?
But we will post it on. There. There's Bing Bing.
Oh, it zoomed. So this is Bing Lee. And he says, equal and unconditional love for all our fellow creatures across all space, time, matter, energy is the only way out of the human misery.
That's his message that he's spreading as he walks across the world. He started in November 2016. He started walking, and he started in Vancouver. So he walked from Vancouver to LA.
Yeah.
And he's stopping to spread his message.
Okay, that's good. You can probably move it. All right. See, that camera did come into play. All right. Is useful, functional. So I'm talking to this guy. We're kind of talking back and forth, and he seems like a really nice guy, a great guy. Didn't have any anger. He won't take any money. Someone actually bought him a salad while we were standing there talking to him, and so we were talking, and I said, well, where do you stay? Where do you sleep? And he was very clean. Like his head was shaven, his face was shaved, his hands, like we see a lot of homeless people around here, and they don't have the opportunity to shower very often. His guy's hands were very clean, nails were trimmed, and I was like, how do you stay so clean? And he says...
Actually, I asked that question.
Okay. Dorothy asked that question. So he says, well, sometimes I stay at someone's house, sometimes they let me shower.
Do my laundry,
right? So, and I was a bit taken by surprise, and he says, do you guys live around here? And
I'm like, oh, here we go.
you guys live around here. And it wasn't very pushy or confrontational. He just says, you guys live around here. We said, yeah. And then he says, well, would you mind if I wash some clothes at your house, maybe showered? And we were like, and Dorothy was like,
I'm like,
and then like, and of course it's very normal. Like a perfect stranger was like, can I stay with you guys? And we're like, I was like, looked at Dorothy, didn't know what to say. And like, we're not like, no, we're like spread the love people.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. Sure, let's do it. And the guy he's very educated, and he's like, this is where I'm going to be on this day. And he's like, can I stop by on this day at this time? And then we're like, all right. So our question is, and I will answer this honestly, would you let a stranger come
like
over,
Bing Bingley.
like Bing Bingley, come over and maybe stay the night, shower, maybe give them a meal? Would you do that? Can you leave that in the comments? Because we're like, sometimes, like, we're very trusting people, if you didn't know. Like, we're very trusting people, and we're very, like, we give people a lot of credit and trust. So we're like, and then we kind of think to ourselves, like, is this a bit too much? Like, should we let a stranger come over and hang out?
Well, I said to Drew, as we're, like, walking home and talking about it, I said to Drew, isn't it crazy that we live in a world that we would even have to question that? Like, letting someone come in and stay at our house. Like, it almost made me sad that we were actually even questioning it to that point. So. And
when I got back to our place, like, we have a place where I went and checked the car. I put the club on the car, actually. And this guy had nothing but a wagon.
Yeah.
That was everything that he owned, a wagon. So I went and checked the car. I actually went and put the club on it for safety purposes. We walk up to our beach house where we can see the ocean. We were actually we walked by our bikes. We have all these things, and I almost felt guilty after talking to this guy about all the things we have, and he has a wagon. And then we're questioning, like, well, maybe we shouldn't let him stay at our house. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like a reality check for us, like, we have too much stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting, though, because Drew and I recently had the conversation because, like Drew said, there's lots of homeless people around where we live. And I always wanted to invite them over it's not a small community, but you get to know the same people, right? So,
you see them all the time.
So we see the same people, and some people we can engage in conversation with and things like that. And there's this one guy that we always see at the library, and I said to Drew, wouldn't it be nice if we invited him over, maybe give him some hot tea, he could shower, have something to eat. Wouldn't that be nice if we could do that for him? And then a couple days later, we meet Bing Bingley. Like, it just, like, seems like too, what's the word, Drew? Like, too sequential.
It just all added up.
Like, yeah. I was like, ask and you shall receive.
So Hilda said yes. Charlene said yes. Suzanne said yes. And this was what I was thinking about too, Jessica. Like, if you have kids, Jessica says yes, but I'd be cautious with who. I have kids, and that's perfectly okay. That's understandable. Like, you would invite a perfect stranger into your house, which could potentially cause danger.
Right.
And then you have family members, like that's something that I would worry about. Like, if I would invite someone into our home, like, I have Dorothy to look after. And if you have family in your house, like, you have a stranger coming into your house, you don't know who they are or what they do, and you have kids to protect, and you have kids that you're responsible for, so that would be something very real, very apparent on our minds. So thanks for bringing that up, Jessica, because we don't know. We live in a crazy world, but we also live in a world where it's scary to invite a perfect stranger over, and I don't think it should be.
And then Louise says, you can quote Chantal.
I miss Louise.
Louise just said she's on her own, so it'd be hard to do. Absolutely, right? If you were on your own. She's like, I'm trusting, but I'm on my own, so I'd have to think really hard about it.
Yeah.
Which would be tough, right? If you live alone.
Yeah, good point, Louise. Thank you. And then Chantel said, perfect timing to help someone out. Chantel, would you bring someone in your house? Okay, let's do the draw.
Alrighty.
So we have 6 people that we can see and 6 people in our
draw.
So we have Charlene, Suzanne, Louise, Hilda, Jessica, and Chantel. You guys have great odds because we have two $25 gift certificates going out from Proco to our Flames restaurant locally in Olds. So Dorothy's, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that camera. I'm doing that with that story, yes. Chantel said yes. Cool.
Well,
thank you, Chantel.
Well, stay tuned for more Bing Bing Lee because
he's coming over.
He's coming over, he says. He's just gonna knock on our door, he said. But if he comes, what's wrong?
Nothing.
He's whispering at me. If he comes, we'll have lots of stories.
Yeah, we gave him his address. It was a bit weird showing him our address and like telling him where we live, but.
He's like, I got this map of the area. Where do you live? So we showed him where our house was. And, is this what you wanted me to do?
No, your hands are in the way of my face. That's why I was like, excuse you. I'm trying to get some...
It's the Dorothy Show!
So if you guys tune in for Cooking with Dorothy, that's Dorothy's favorite day of the week because it's only her. I don't get in the way.
That's not true. I always include you.
Cooking with Dorothy, 7 p.m. Tuesday nights. Check that out. We have a new recipe Dorothy's going to whip up on Tuesday.
We're going to whip up some banana chocolate chip muffins this Tuesday. And make sure you subscribe to Cooking with Dorothy show because we're going to send out the recipe before Tuesday. So if you want to go ahead and grab the ingredients to bake the muffins along with me, you can do that.
Yeah. And I'll put the subscription in the comments. So if you haven't subscribed, you need to subscribe. And we also pass out the videos afterwards also.
Yeah, so if you miss a show or have to miss a show for a reason, then if you're subscribed, you'll still get the show afterwards.
Okay, hold it up.
I got hold of it with this hand.
So...
Pick one.
I'm picking one.
Pick one! You got one?
I got one. I think I should hold it up to that camera. Because that's the Zoom camera. Who's that one? What does that say?
Chantal!
Pow! Look at that zoom. I love the zoom. Look at my fingernails. Good thing I clipped my fingernails.
Good thing I clipped my fingernails.
Chantel, congrats!
So it looks like you're coming back to Olds.
Suzanne said 7 p.m. What time zone? So Cooking with Dorothy's 7 p.m.
Mountain time.
Mountain time. 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Woo!
So check that out, Suzanne, and you should probably subscribe as well. So you can, if you miss the shows, we send out them afterwards.
Yeah,
in an email.
The clip of the show is sent out after if you're subscribed, so that if you want to rewatch it or if you missed it, you can do that.
Yeah. So we give out prizes on that show as well. So we need to subscribe and be there to watch live. Okay.
You need a September workshop. September class.
Good idea, Chantel. Are you coming to it if we do it?
Gotta bring your mom too.
That's right. We love Tina too. All right, hold it up.
All right, I'm just shaking them a little bit.
All right.
All right, Drew. Now I got my arm in my face.
Okay, I'll move this one. You're welcome, Suzanne. Hopefully you get a chance to tune into that one as well.
Don't be looking.
Okay, I'm mixing them.
I already mixed them. Okay. I thought you were holding it up to that camera.
Okay. This way. I'm holding it here. Just wait. This is the next winner is... Jessica! Come on, zoom. Zoom. Zoom.
Oh, it's okay, Drew.
It's an auto zoom, so...
It's an auto the zoom.
It wasn't autoing zoom. Jessica and Chantel, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And everyone else, thank you for playing. Making it rain.
I won a draw yesterday. We went to a volleyball tournament, and we love this. It's one thing that we look forward to every year, but it's a volleyball tournament here at the beach. And I put my name in to win how do you call it? An Alexa?
Amazon Alexa.
Amazon Alexa. And I won the draw!
She won.
I won a Amazon Alexa. I'm talking to. That's her talking right now because I said her name.
Can you guys hear her? She's talking in the background.
Because I said her name, and now she's talking to me. Anyway, it was pretty cool, because it's not so often that I win a draw.
It's fun to win. You know, like when we started doing draws, of course, we would get more people interested in coming and hanging out. But we're like, why do people love the draws so much? But when you go to something and you have the opportunity to win, it's fun.
Yeah.
And we like to have fun. So that's why we're like, that's why it was just fun to like win and like have the opportunity to win as well.
Yeah, Drew's like, when they announced my name, they're like, they had it all numbered. So I didn't know my number, but they're like, number 1. And then they go look on the list and they're like, Dorothy Keith? I'm like, oh, that's me!
Yeah.
And I was jumping around and Drew was like, you got really excited.
It was fun, but it's cool. Like, sometimes you're like a couple years ago, I'd be like, don't act like that. Like, that's weird. I don't get so excited. But, I mean, it's fun. Like, have some fun with your life. So, Suzanne said, I get all the emails, just missed the live. Okay.
Oh, awesome, Suzanne.
Thanks for subscribing. Tune in live to be eligible for some prizes, Suzanne. We give out a prize every week there, too. Hilda said, every show I'm at. Congrats, ladies. Have a fantastic day. You too, Mom. Thanks for tuning in with us. Chantel said, wow, Alexa, cool. Yeah, it was very cool.
It was.
And it's usually it's like we got these little prizes which were like a fan, and we got like a bandana, which like isn't that cool. But we got this Alexa, and we have a Google Home at our other place in Olds. So I was kind of I told Dorothy, I was like, I'm kind of missing our Google Home because I'm kind of a technology nerd, and it's fun. I like to talk to it. I like to figure out what it can do. And then we got this Alexa, and I'm like, I can't wait to set it up. We had a question here from Jessica. How big are the CTP bags? We have a 1 pound bag, Jessica, and we have a 2 pound bag.
Yeah, and Jessica, we can always talk after if you have more questions as well.
Yeah, and we can definitely hook you up. Is Jessica local? Do you know?
No.
Jessica, are you around? Let us know if you're around Olds. Like, we can deliver. You can pick up at one of our locations. And, yeah, it'd be great to set you up if you're interested.
Louise says, careful with Alexa. Don't say you want to buy something to her. You'll start getting packages.
That'd be cool, though.
I'm sure she could order you anything you wanted.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, you haven't tried the Alexa. I don't really know much about it. Most people I know have the Google Home.
Have the Google, yeah.
All right, guys, we should wrap things up here. We've been on here for almost an hour and a half. So those of you guys that have been tuning in, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We couldn't do this up without you.
Yeah, we'll be back next Friday. And, of course, maybe we'll see you, or hopefully we'll see you Tuesday night as well for Cooking with Dorothy on the True Form page.
Yeah, and throughout the week as well. We post a couple times a day here. We're very, I don't know what the word is. We're on here all the time.
Involved?
We're very involved. We're easy to reach if you have questions or if you need some help with anything. Let us know.
I'm not going to repeat that because what Jessica said because Alexa will start talking.
She might.
See? She's talking because we said her name.
She's talking right now. We love you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys are wishing us have a great day. Like it's amazing. Like this is what we do full time. We get a chance to talk with you guys. We get a chance to hang out, offer information, give away free stuff. It's pretty fantastic. And we couldn't do it without you. So thank you for being here with us, for your comments, questions, shares. It all really means a lot. So thank you so much.
It's our favorite. I was going to say it's our favorite day of the year. It's our favorite day of the week by far to come in here and get to be with you guys and answer your questions and just hang out. It's really hanging out.
Just hanging out. All right, guys. We'll see you later on. Have a fantastic weekend and enjoy.
Bye, guys.
See ya.